When I say I don't know, I don't know.
Let's go, baby.
Now, the Morning Drive.
Buckle up, everybody. A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
It's a game changer.
I listen to you guys every single day on my way to work.
Well, again, I'm not a doctor, nor do I play one on the radio.
You guys are amazing.
What are you doing over there?
I'm going to the top.
The Morning Drive with Mike Bagley and Pete Pistone.
To the bat balls.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio, Channel 90, live and on the air for this Monday, May 22nd, 2023. Mike Bagley here in Delmarva, Studio 1D. We've got Pistol Pete Pistone, the Paisan Palace in Chicago. Got Sammy and Davey with us as well. We welcome each and every one of you to this Monday morning. And Petey, welcome to a Monday post-All-Star race at North Wilkesboro.
Well, good morning, Bagman. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday to one and all. Indeed, a brand new week here on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio after a return to an historic racetrack over the weekend.
Indeed it was. It was a weekend full of racing. It was a weekend full of renaissance, going back to a track that had been forgotten since 1996. Two events on the docket yesterday, the Open and the NASCAR All-Star Race.
From North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Drivers, start your engines.
There are two spots remaining in the All-Star and a fan vote. The two spots will be filled by the driver winning this event and the runner-up. 100 laps and the green flag is in the air and Ty Gibbs is gone. Corey LaJoie will tuck in line in second. 3 wide already. Boy, crossover. McDowell, 3 wide and they're going to go around. Justin Haley's in the wall. Michael McDowell's in the wall. And the caution flag flies. They all went for the same spot. Dave Moody and 2 are going to come up short.
Room for 1. 3 tried to go there to the bottom of turn number 4 on exit, and they just got hooked together. I thought Justin Haley was going to get out of it. He got turned sideways, gathered it up, and continued on. But at that point, Michael McDowell had gotten hooked to the right. He went straight up across the racetrack, took both himself and Haley into the fence. Gibbs regained the lead in kind of a strange fashion. It was like Josh Berry. The engine just did not light coming off the corner. Gibbs went to the outside and bypassed him. Berry, it happened again at the other end of the track. That put him right back into the clutches of Ryan Preece.
It is getting physical for the lead over in turn number 4 in front of Dave Moody.
Michael McDowell held up Ty Gibbs, ran him all over the back straightaway, knocked him high in turn 3. The lead went to Josh Berry. Gibbs now beating the back bumper off of Berry and trying to hold off Eric Almirola.
Turn number 4, checkered flag in the air. The Open is complete. Josh Berry is an all-star in the NASCAR Cup Series. Ty Gibbs is an all-star in the NASCAR Cup Series. They advance to the main event. The fan vote has been announced. The winner, a man of the people. His name is Noah Gragson. He is going to race in the all-star race.
2 hours later.
Gentlemen, start your engine. Woo!
Daniel Suarez is on the inside of the front row. Chris Buescher flanks him to his right elbow. Field through turns 3 and 4. Fans on their feet. Off turn 4. Green flag goes in the air. We're officially racing at North Wilkesboro. Daniel Suarez leads the field off turn 2.
Trouble, turn 4. Stenhouse gets clipped by Eric Jones. Around he goes, keeps it off the inside wall, straightens it out at the start-finish line. Stenhouse tried to get back to the bottom. Eric Jones had his foot in the door in turn 4.
I am freaking wrecking everywhere, wrecking.
Yeah, 10-4, I see it.
Daniel Suarez opted for the inside lane, and he's going to maintain the lead.
Into turn number 3, Chase Briscoe took the high lane. It's not going to work out. Hamlin underneath him for second. Now he's going to have to fight off Joey Logano.
How patient will Larson be with Logano as they come to the line? Lap number 50. Logano is going to move to the outside. He doesn't have to be patient. He just drives right on by Joey Logano to take third.
Side by side for the race lead. The crowd losing their mind off to David's Kyle Larson.
That was way too easy. Larson just drove under Daniel Suarez going into turn 1, drove away in turn 2. By the time they get to 4, he's up by 4 car lengths.
We are halfway here in the All-Star event. 100 in, 100 to go.
2 big penalties for 2 cars. One of them, a speeding penalty for Ross Chastain. He'll start at the back of the field. The other penalty, an uncontrolled tire for Joey Logano.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on the sign, wheel on the mark. Oh, tire!
Green flag goes in the air, racing yet again at North Wilkesboro Speedway. 90 laps away from $1 million for one particular driver.
Larson away with the lead in turn 2. Battle for second now. Bubba Wallace to the low line. Daniel Suarez to the outside. Then Tyler Reddick and Chris Buescher. The advantage goes to Bubba Wallace. Suarez trying to squeeze his way to the bottom.
Kyle Larson up off of turn number 4. A white flag goes in the air. Young Money is a lap away from big money.
Harvick to the bottom of the racetrack, just waves him by. Final pass of the night, and that will be it. Kyle Larson down the back straightaway, ready to finish out a spectacular All-Star victory.
All-Star winner 3 of the last 5 times out. Take the check to the bank. $1 million. Kyle Larson has won the NASCAR All-Star race at the North Wilkesboro Speedway in dominating fashion.
You guys are f***ing incredible. Holy shit. What a kick. Let's go.
Lessons in Morse Code by Kyle Larson in a fit of celebration after winning the NASCAR All-Star race at the North Wilkesboro Speedway. He did it in convincing fashion, and what a time it was for Kyle Larson yesterday, Petey. What are your thoughts on what you saw in the Open, what you saw in the All-Star race?
Well, I thought it was fitting that Ray Evernham threw the green flag because Kyle was obviously driving the T-Rex car that he had with Jeff Gordon back in the day at the All-Star race. That's the way he dominated yesterday. You don't see domination like that much these days in NASCAR Cup Series racing, let alone the All-Star race, but there's really no other way to describe it, Mike. He led 145 laps, had a pit road speeding penalty early in the race, and in a way it almost turned out to be a good thing for that team as they put some fresh tires on that race car, and he was unstoppable. So there's really nothing to say outside of the guy has won, Kyle Larson, a lot this year. That is his 3rd All-Star race win. He's won at 3 different racetracks now with the All-Star race, and the 3rd one coming on Sunday night. And he won the Truck Series race on Saturday. I would say the month of May is the month of young money because Kyle Larson's been winning everything in sight.
Well, if he didn't go to the back, I wonder if he would have lapped the field because that car, and by the way, this is not the first time we've seen this at North Wilkesboro. This had shades of 1994 Jeff Bodine written all over it. But there have been times where you get a car hooked up and it's like he could do nothing wrong. He hit traffic perfect. He lapped cars perfectly. It just seemed like everything fell into their laps. And when you walk away from this one, you just can't. I'm shaking my head because I thought that it wasn't. I knew somebody would get hooked up, but I didn't think somebody would get hooked up to the level that he got hooked up last night.
Well, they talked about this a lot yesterday on the telecast with Mike Joy and Darrell Waltrip up in the booth there with Larry McReynolds, and obviously Jamie McMurray was up there too. North Wilkesboro in the Cup Series has had a history of people winning by a large margin and leading a lot of laps. DW said it several times. When someone would get hooked up in the Cup Series, back when North Wilkesboro was a regular stop on the schedule, they would run away a lot of times, to your point. So I did a little math. The last 6 Cup races held at North Wilkesboro, counting last night, the average margin of victory, 6.97 seconds. Now, granted, there's a couple in there, one of 21 seconds, to your point, when they lapped the field, and one of 13.48 seconds. But if you got hooked up there, the racetrack hasn't changed. We talked a lot about that, not changing that track surface. I think a lot of people are happy they didn't change the track surface. I'm also happy the track didn't come up. That was a concern going into the weekend. They did some patching, but it didn't come up. But when you get hooked up, if you have a race car as good as Kyle Larson, I don't care who you're racing against, he's going to run, and one of the best in the business is going to run away, and he did that yesterday. Stunk up the show, which every driver in the world wants to do, and mission accomplished for Kyle Larson.
What about Chase Briscoe and his performance? Highest finishing Ford. Chase was in the mix all night. But then again, when you take a look at the top 4, 5, 6 finishing positions, those are all drivers that do well on worn-out racetracks.
Well, that's the thing. And Briscoe surprised me because I thought out of the Fords that maybe Joey Logano would have been the guy that was the furthest up there based on some of what we saw earlier in the weekend with him with speed and such, but he had some issues yesterday. Joey finished 10th. Good finish for him for sure. I mean, the 2 Toyota drivers that were 2nd and 3rd, Bubba Wallace, who had a good run on Saturday as well in the Truck Series race with a top 5 finish for him there, and Tyler Reddick coming back the way he did. Another guy, as you mentioned, good on worn-out racetracks, obviously with some dirt track experience. You know, it's such a short race. It's 1 hour and 20 minutes. That was it. 1 hour and 20 minutes for 200 laps to rattle off there at that racetrack. Saving tires and all that, we know that was obviously the mantra going in, but there was just really not much anyone really could do, Mike, in the situation of yesterday, because nobody had anything for Kyle Larson. Nobody. I mean, there wasn't anybody remotely close to the 5-car and what Cliff Daniels brought to that racetrack this weekend.
I know they're nowhere near it, but is this to you starting to feel a little like 2021?
Yes.
When they were rattling off those wins, and it feels like that the Kyle Larson locomotive is pulling out of the station, and it's starting to gain some speed right now.
No doubt. And, you know, we all know about being close. It doesn't matter and all, and ifs and buts and all those things, but he has been really close to winning more than the times he's already won this year. I mean, I'm hard-pressed to go back in the first 13 races of the season and think of a race. There's a couple where the 5-car wasn't in the mix, where the 5-car maybe could have had the race won had something not happened at the end of the race to take them out of contention to win the race. Darlington, obviously, the week before with Ross Chastain and so on and so forth. So, yeah, I do feel like they are right now. And it's funny because their teammate, William Byron, has got 3 wins in the regular season. So he would say, well, what about that team? Well, I'm not dismissing them, but it does feel like the momentum and the confidence is certainly on the 5-team side right now, Mike. I agree with you right now.
We obviously will get into this the deeper we get into the week and the closer we get to the Coca-Cola 600. But when developing a short list of drivers for this coming weekend, Kyle Larson is in that mix. Mm-hmm. William Byron's in that mix. It seems like that Kyle Larson and William Byron both have elevated that Hendrick Motorsports effort, and then Larson is starting to leave Willie B just a touch, but Willie B is staying pace. And I looked at what we got last night. A lot of folks were surprised we got what we got last night. I'm not, because that's the kind of racing we've gotten at North Wilkesboro back in the day. You get one guy that gets hooked up, pulls away. I'll get into this in checker flags and black flags. I went in with a kind of like a pseudo expectation list, and one of my biggest expectations was not satisfied, but I'll take care of that coming up there. Overall, going back to Wilkesboro, the vibe around the racetrack, what are your thoughts between the truck race? Well, the racing that started Wednesday night and went all the way through to last night.
Listen, here's the bottom line for me. The vibe, the energy, everything off the charts, no doubt. This is like your favorite restaurant coming back to life. Unfortunately, what they served up, it wasn't the best. The racing just wasn't the best. It didn't live up to what we had hoped it to be. But the vibe and energy and what everybody did to bring the racetrack back, there's no arguing about what you saw with the fans coming into that racetrack, what you heard from the drivers being there, all that off the charts. But the bottom line is, for anything, and we talk about it all the time, what are you serving up on track? What's the product look like? And unfortunately, yesterday, that was about as flat of a product as I can remember in the Cup Series for some time. And obviously one of the reasons, not in the least of which, a guy like Kyle Larson being as hooked up as that 5-team was last night.
Well, I was going to say, what made it that way, in your opinion?
There was no passing. I don't know. I mean, part of it is Larson for sure, but I mean, it was all about track position. And it was just a bit of a snoozer. It reminded me, what it reminded me of? Remember the year we had the All-Star race at Bristol during the COVID year? Everyone was like, oh boy, here we go. We're going to have an All-Star race on a short track. Can't wait. Not so much. It was flat. So it's disappointing in terms of the product. I'm not going to dismiss the weekend. I'm not going to say, okay, they need to do this, need to do that. I think a lot of it comes down to the next-gen Cup car, Mike, and a lot of the product of being, can we make that kind of racing better, which NASCAR has addressed. It didn't really show up for me last night. But at the end of it all, I'm not going to say in the rearview mirror, boy, North Wilkesboro was a bust, because it was anything but. But the on-track product left me flat most of the weekend. Even the Truck Series race was okay. It was all right. Larson was good. But last night, just not what you want out of an all-star race, but there's not much you can do about it when you got a team like Kyle Larson's.
One of the things that I noticed in practice the other night was the times of the top 20.
Yeah.
The top 17 were separated by half a tenth. Half a tenth. You can't even blink your eye in that speed. But everybody was laid right on top of each other as far as speed-wise. So you put everybody that's basically running the same speed. You did have a tire that gave up. That's what created the slipping and sliding. But I don't know if Kyle Larson slipped a wheel all night. I mean, he was that perfect last night that I don't even think that he slipped any at all on that racetrack.
Didn't seem like it. I mean, you're right. I thought Goodyear's tire was pretty good. It did give up, which is what the drivers want. But just, I think, a combo platter of just the difficulty on that racetrack, which has been part of that racetrack's calling card for years to come, as we documented. The Cup car right now having a difficult time right now passing on a short track. And Kyle Larson, I mean, that was the recipe for a real dominating performance in the All-Star race. And Kyle's standing in line right now with that big check bag, man, trying to cash it. Here's $1 million. Thank you, son. Have some lunch for everybody, boys. It's on me.
It's the best line ever in Happy Gilmore when he's like, oh, we don't give out the checks till like next. They don't come till next week. He goes, it's fine. I'll just take one of those big ones over there.
Right. That's Kyle running around right now with that big check.
Do you think you go to like a grocery store or like a gas station to try to like sign the back of it, and you're like, here, can I get that and take that and a pack of cigarettes and then Mountain Dews, please? What you got for me?
Doesn't fit in the ATM, so you're kind of stuck. You're right about that.
Coming up, you'll hear from the top finishers of the NASCAR All-Star Race. We'll give you the full field rundown. Bottom of the hour, we'll give you headline check number 1. Also, checkered flags and black flags here on this All-Star Monday. Coming up at 8:50, we'll have the calendar for you. Coming up at 9, Rudy Fugel, William Byron's crew chief at Hendrick Motorsports, will join us, and we'll also take you back to the Tyson 250. By the way, Kyle Larson won that one as well. It was basically a weekend of grand larceny in Wilkes County, North Carolina. Kyle winning Saturday, Kyle winning Sunday, and we'll recap it all with you here on your home for NASCAR.